This is our left field Viognier. I find Viognier quite a good match for the climate up here in the hills. It is traditionally grown in the Rhone Valley in France, which is a reasonably warm region, and we find that it ripens quite late in the season, so the warm elevated conditions up here in the hills are quite well suited. I also find it quite a challenging variety to make, and mostly around the balance between Viognier's natural sort of oily textural character and pH management. We sourced the Viognier for this wine from the northern end of the Perth Hills wine region, from the Chittering Valley. Picking time is always a difficult time. Choosing just when to pick this variety can be very difficult, but also management of this variety up and to that point is very awkward. It's often said Viognier has a very narrow picking window. 6 hours, I think, is the legend. So you have to keep a very close eye on it. If you don't keep an eye on it, the bone can run away from you, the acid can blow out, and you can really miss that critical window. It arrives at the winery with a naturally high pH, and their decision is always just how much acid do we add. If we add too much acid, we really fight against the variety's natural urges to have that lovely oily and textural palate. Too little acid and the wine looks a bit flabby and soapy and soft. So I find that the biggest decision when it comes to making this Viognier. Once that decision's been made, this wine is tank fermented, it's fermented cold. We're trying to retain fruit freshness, we're trying to maintain varietal integrity, and we put it to bottle very early in order to achieve that as well. Of course, in addition to making a straight varietal Viognier for the Left Field Club, we also use this great variety in some of our red wines, and primarily the Shiraz Mourvèdre Viognier. Very small percentages in these wines, only sort of 3%, but in terms of the lifted aromatics and the softening of the mid palate, 3% makes a big difference. We don't pick our Viognier terribly ripe. We prefer some of the leaner Viognier characters. So on the nose you typically see more sort of gooseberry and guava type notes, very lifted and aromatic. On the palate, that very typical oily texture, but with some more sort of apricot, guava, tropical fruit flavours, and of course a lovely textural but still dry finish. Viognier is an interesting one when it comes to food matching. It has lovely fresh lifted fruit characters, but this oily textural palate really avails itself to heavier food styles. So white meats, creamy sauces particularly, I think it will do very well with any of those sorts of foods.